Hey everyone, welcome to a deep dive that I think you're going to find super interesting. We're going to be talking about vibrational reality.
Mm.
Have you ever had like this feeling like there's more to things than we can see? Like there's a whole level of energy that kind of shapes things before we even experience them?
You know what's cool about this whole idea? It doesn't say the physical world isn't real, but it's like saying there's a deeper level, sort of like an energetic blueprint where everything starts.
Okay, so like let's try to simplify this. Our source material says thoughts and emotions have like a frequency. It's like each thought you have sends out this vibration,
Hmm.
and then that vibration interacts with the energy of the entire universe.
That's it. It's like tuning a radio. To pick up a certain station, you have to be on the right frequency. So if we want to bring something into our lives, we need to match our vibration to what we want.
Hmm. So if I'm always thinking about things I don't have, am I actually attracting more of that lack?
That's the idea. But on the other hand, if you can really feel abundance and joy even before you see it in your life, it's like tuning yourself into the frequency of those experiences.
This is where I think a lot of people struggle. We've all been there like thinking positively, but then wondering, when will I see the results? The source material talks about this, right?
Totally. It really emphasizes how important it is to feel what you want as if it's already here. It's not
It,
just positive thinking, it's about embodying the feeling of having what you want.
okay, so if I want a new job, it's not enough to just think, I will find a great job. I have to actually feel how exciting that job would be, how satisfying it would be to do that work, even before it happens.
Exactly. It's like closing the gap between where you are now and where you want to be by feeling the emotions of that reality as if it's already real.
I can see that, but that's got to be hard. Like if I'm stressed about work right now, how do I suddenly flip a switch and feel happy about a dream job I don't even have yet?
It takes practice. The source material suggests focusing on things that make you feel good, genuinely good, even when things are tough. It's about shifting your attention on purpose to raise your vibration.
So if I'm feeling super stressed,
Mhm.
instead of dwelling on all that negative stuff, I should try to think about what I'm grateful for. Maybe something small that brings me joy.
Exactly. And the more you do this, the easier it gets to shift how you're feeling and match the vibration of the things you want.
That actually makes me feel a little better. It's like this
Oh.
isn't some impossible thing. It's something you can work on, you know?
The great thing about this idea is that it puts the power back in our hands. We're not just stuck with whatever life throws at us. We can shape things through how we think, feel, and believe.
But negative emotions are part of life,
Mhm.
right? How does this vibrational reality thing deal with that? Are we supposed to pretend bad stuff never happens?
That's a really important question. The source material doesn't say to ignore negative emotions. Instead, it says to think of them like signals. So when you feel something negative, it's a sign that your thoughts aren't really lining up with what you truly want.
So instead of getting totally lost in those negative feelings, it's a chance to take a step back and ask, what am I giving my attention to right now? And see if you can change your perspective.
Exactly. Negative emotions can teach us things. They highlight where we might be holding ourselves back, or maybe we're clinging to beliefs that don't serve us anymore.
This is starting to make a lot of sense. It's like using those negative feelings as a way to get back on track, to realign with the things you really want. But what about when it seems like no matter how positive you think, nothing changes?
This is where trusting the process comes in. The source material says that just because you don't see something happening right away doesn't mean it isn't working on an energetic level.
Oh, I see. So it's kind of like planting a seed. You don't see the sprout the next day, but that doesn't mean it isn't growing underground. You have to have faith that it's happening, even if you can't see it yet.
Exactly. You need to keep your focus and have faith in what you can't see. That's how you let those seeds you've planted turn into something real.
I can definitely see how this could change things, but it's also a pretty big change in how we see the world. Most of us are so used to focusing on what's right in front of us, what we can see and touch.
That's true, but remember that this vibrational reality is supposed to be what comes before the physical world. It's like the blueprint that our physical world is built from.
So by changing how we think and feel, we're actually working with the source code of our reality.
That's a great way to put it. And the more we can match our inner world with what we really want, the more we can change what happens to us on the outside.
This is blowing my mind a little bit. So if our thoughts and feelings are this powerful, what happens when we doubt it? It's easy to get caught up in everyday life and forget about this unseen world of energy.
That's the tricky part. The source material knows that we tend to get distracted by what we can see and hear. It reminds us that the vibrational reality is just as real, maybe even more real than the physical world.
So it's like we have to constantly remind ourselves
Yeah.
that there's more to life than what we see on the surface. We got to work on trusting and believing in this unseen world of energy.
Exactly. And the better we get at that, the more we can tap into the power of this vibrational reality and line ourselves up with the things we want most.
Wow, this is so interesting. I feel like we're just scratching the surface here. But before we keep going, I want to take a minute to really let this sink in. What's standing out to you so far about this idea of vibrational reality?
You know what I find really fascinating? It's how much it emphasizes feeling. It's not enough to think positive thoughts. You have to cultivate a genuine feeling of already having what you want, even if it's not here yet.
I agree. That's what really speaks to me, too. It's like we're being asked to become creators, not just people who sit back and watch life happen.
And the better we can embody that creator mindset, the better we can shape our reality to match our deepest desires.
Absolutely. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll dive even deeper into how we can actually use this in our lives. What can you do with this information? Stay tuned. All right, we're back, and I'm ready to get into how we can actually use this vibrational reality thing in our lives. It's cool to understand it, but how do we actually make it work?
Well, the source material talks about becoming aware of something called your dominant vibration. It's like taking stock of all your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs, and seeing what kind of energy you're putting out there.
So basically, we need to figure out what kind of energy we're sending out into the universe.
Yeah, exactly. And it can be surprising because we're often on autopilot just reacting to stuff without realizing what thoughts and feelings are behind those reactions.
Okay, so how do we even become aware of this dominant vibration thing? Are there any, exercises we can try?
The source material says to just start paying attention to how you feel throughout the day. Notice when you feel good, when you feel frustrated, anxious, or down.
So basically, become super aware of what's going on inside.
That's it. And as you do this, you might start to see patterns. Maybe certain people or situations always make you feel negative. Or maybe you wake up feeling great, but then it fades as the day goes on.
Right, so once you're paying attention, you can see what makes your energy go up and what brings it down.
Exactly. And that's when the real work starts. It's about choosing things that match the energy you want to have.
So it's not just reacting to life. It's like designing your experience.
You got it.
Right.
It's about becoming the architect of your own energy, your own vibrational reality.
Now, I can imagine some people might get discouraged. Like if they realize their vibration isn't where they want it to be, what would you say to someone who feels overwhelmed by that?
That's totally normal. Remember, this is a journey. Be kind to yourself and focus on making small changes consistently.
So don't try to change everything overnight. Just make little adjustments to your thoughts, feelings, and actions.
Yeah. The source material says that even small changes in your vibration can make a big difference over time. It's like turning a big ship. It takes time to change direction. But if you keep at it, you can steer yourself towards the experiences you want.
I love that analogy. It really shows how important patience and consistency are. It's not about getting what you want instantly. It's about slowly aligning yourself with a new energy.
And the more you practice, the more you'll notice positive changes in your life. You might find yourself getting new opportunities, meeting new people, or just feeling more peace and joy every day.
That's really encouraging. It shows that we really do have the power to change our reality.
And remember, you don't have to do this alone. Surround yourself with people who lift you up and inspire you. Do things that bring you joy and learn things that expand your mind. Basically, build a support system that feeds your positive energy.
That's great advice. It's like creating a whole environment that helps you grow and stay focused on what you want.
Exactly. And the more you take care of your energy, the more you'll attract things that match that energy, like finding a radio station that only plays your favorite songs.
I love how this connects our inner world with what happens in our outer world. It's like a dance between our thoughts, feelings, and the things we experience.
And the more we understand that dance, the better we can move through life, creating experiences that truly reflect who we are.
This is so empowering.
Uh,
But let's be honest, it can be hard to stay positive and focused on what we want, especially when life throws curveballs at us. The source material talks about this too, right?
oh, absolutely. It says that challenges are a natural part of life. In fact, it's those tough experiences, the times things don't go our way, that often make us want something more, something better.
So instead of seeing those challenges as setbacks, we can see them as chances to grow and learn.
That's it. Those difficult times often make us really think about our beliefs, to figure out what we truly want and ultimately raise our vibration to a higher level.
It's like those challenges are pushing us to become the best versions of ourselves.
Exactly. And the source material encourages us to embrace those challenges. See them as opportunities for transformation, not roadblocks.
That's a powerful way to look at things. It's about seeing the bigger picture, knowing that even the tough times are part of a journey of growth.
And the more we can accept that, the stronger we become. And the better we can handle life's ups and downs.
This is all making so much sense. But we live in a world that's very focused on what's real, what we can see and touch. How do we balance this idea of vibrational reality with the real world problems and limitations we all face?
That's a great question. And I think it's important to remember that this isn't about ignoring the real world or pretending that problems don't exist. It's about understanding that there's a deeper level of reality, this vibrational energy that influences everything we experience.
So it's not about pretending everything is perfect. It's about looking at problems from a new perspective.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the source material suggests that by focusing on this vibrational reality, on our thoughts, feelings, and beliefs, we can actually start to change our physical circumstances.
So we're learning to be more conscious creators of our own lives instead of just letting life happen to us.
Precisely. And the more we can align our inner world with what we truly desire, the more we can shape our outer world to match.
This is amazing. But I can also see how it could be a bit overwhelming at first. What would you say to someone who's new to all of this and feeling a little lost?
I'd say start small. Focus on feeling joy, gratitude, and appreciation in your everyday life. Notice the things that make you feel good and do more of them. And when challenges come up, see them as chances to clarify what you want and to strengthen your connection to those desires.
That's great advice. It's about making this idea something we can actually use in our daily lives.
You got it. And the more you experiment with it, the more you'll see how powerful it can be.
This has been incredible. We've covered so much ground. But we're going to take another quick break, and when we come back, we'll explore some specific techniques for aligning with what we want and creating a more joyful and fulfilling life. We're back and ready for more. So we've talked about this vibrational reality, but how do we actually use it? Like, how do we make it work to create the life we want?
One of the most powerful things you can do, according to the source material, is to really cultivate that feeling of having what you want, as if it's already real.
So it's not just picturing it in your mind, but actually feeling it.
Yeah, it's about embodying that feeling. But what if your life right now feels totally different?
Right, exactly. Like if someone's struggling financially, how can they really feel abundant when they're not?
Well, that's where the practice comes in. You have to find little ways to bring up those feelings.
Oh, I see.
Maybe it's spending time in nature or listening to music that makes you feel good, or even just thinking about things you're grateful for.
So you're basically choosing to do things that create the feeling you're going for.
Exactly. And the more you do it, the easier it gets. Like anything else, the more you practice, the stronger you become.
Makes sense. But what about when those negative feelings creep in? Like, let's say you're trying to manifest something and you're getting frustrated because it's not happening yet. How do you handle those feelings without, messing up your vibe?
The source material is interesting here. It says that negative emotions are actually a sign that you're out of alignment with what you want.
Oh, interesting.
So instead of fighting them, just acknowledge them and then gently shift your focus.
So it's not about pretending to be happy all the time.
Yeah.
It's more like using those negative feelings as a reminder to get back on track.
Exactly. Like noticing that you've gone off course and then gently steering back. No judgment, just course correction.
That takes a lot of pressure off. Okay, one last thing that comes up in the source material is this idea of trusting the process. Even when you're not seeing results right away, how do we do that? Especially in a world where we're so used to instant gratification.
You have to shift your perspective a bit. Instead of focusing on what's happening on the outside, pay attention to what's changing inside you. Notice how your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs are shifting.
So we should celebrate those little victories, like when we feel more aligned and joyful, even if things haven't changed externally yet.
Absolutely. The real transformation is happening within you, and you have to trust that those internal shifts will eventually show up in your life. It's like that saying, as within, so without.
That makes a lot of sense. It's not just about the end result. It's about the journey of becoming.
And the more you embrace that journey, the more joy and fulfillment you'll find.
This has been such an eye-opening deep dive. I feel like we've barely scratched the surface.
Yeah.
But I hope this is giving you some food for thought. What are your big takeaways? What really resonated with you?
Well, there's so much to unpack here, but I think the biggest thing for me is remembering that we're not just passengers in our own lives. We have the power to shape our reality, and it all starts with our inner world.
Absolutely. And it's a little bit scary, right? Like, wow, I have all this power. Now what? Hmm. But I think that's also what makes it so exciting. It's a chance to experiment, to play around with these ideas and see what happens.
I love that. Be curious, be open, and don't be afraid to try new things. You might be surprised by what you discover.
That's the perfect note to end on. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into vibrational reality. If you're feeling inspired, we'd love to hear from you. Share your thoughts, your experiences, or any questions you have in the comments. Tell us what you're going to try. And until next time, stay curious, keep exploring, and keep believing in the incredible power you have to shape your own reality.